Let's turn to the latest on the investigation into President Biden's handling of classified material. Over the weekend, the White House responded to mounting pressure with new information about additional material found in the president's Delaware home. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba has the latest.
Frustration growing this morning inside the White House over the ongoing backlash to the discovery of classified documents in President Biden's private office and Delaware home, including from the president himself, according to 3 sources familiar with the matter.
The battle for the soul of this nation is perennial. It's a constant struggle.
The president in Atlanta Sunday, celebrating the life of Martin Luther King Jr. in the church he once led, while staying silent on the latest developments, including revelations over the weekend that more classified material was found at Mr. Biden's Wilmington home. All of it adding to growing questions about how the sensitive records ended up in his possession after leaving the vice presidency. Mr. Biden's personal attorney arguing they can't release certain details, quote, relevant to the investigation while it is ongoing. The total number of pages recovered is unclear, but documents with classification markings have been identified in multiple locations. Less than a dozen at the Penn Biden Center in Washington, D.C. back in November, while the rest were unearthed in the president's Wilmington residence in the last month, found in a locked garage and an adjacent room. The White House admitting Saturday that more classified material than previously known had been examined and handed over to the Department of Justice, as some Democrats concede the communication misstep, especially given the president's past criticism of Donald Trump's handling of classified information.
It's certainly embarrassing.
While defending key differences in the cases. More than 300 classified records were seized by the FBI at Mar-a-Lago after the former president refused to hand them over to the National Archives.
That's apples and oranges. So we should keep a sense of proportion and measure.
But that hasn't stopped House Republicans from already launching several investigations.
What's real concerning to me is how justice is applied, and is it applied equally?
Well,
oh, God.
If it is,
yes, it is.
Here's the great news. It is applied equally, and if it is applied equally, that's going to be very bad news for Donald Trump and everybody that's been trying to protect him and polishing his shoes, as Kevin McCarthy has for the past several years.
That was NBC's Monica Alba with that report. Jonathan Lemire and John Heilman are still with us, and joining the conversation we have, senior columnist for the Daily Beast, Matt Lewis, and host of On Brand with Donny Deutsch, the podcast Donny Deutsch, and co-founder and CEO of All In Together, Lauren Leader is with us this morning.
So Donny Deutsch, I want to go to you. You're the branding expert.
Yeah.
I remain baffled as to how much the Biden team has mishandled this. The lack of transparency, the drip. Would have been very easy for him to say, well, first of all, the first mistake was, we've talked about it before, the second the Mar-a-Lago investigation starts, I can tell you what a chief of staff of mine in a small matter in Congress would have said to me if somebody else was in trouble and something. Hey, let's check everything, make sure that their problem's not our problem. Everybody in Congress would always do that. If there's something and somebody gets in trouble, you go, okay, well, let's make sure that, let's make sure we didn't do that. I have no idea why they waited till November and stumbled onto this. And then it's drip by drip by drip by drip. Instead of sending Admiral Kirby out the first day saying, all right, we just found this, and it's a surprise to us. We immediately send it back. We're going to immediately check all Biden premises to see if there are any other documents. There could be. This one surprised us. Maybe there are other surprises out there, but we're going to get on it immediately, and we're going to give you the information as soon as we can give you the information. We're going to be obviously coordinating with the Department of Justice, but you'll know as soon as we know, and the DOJ tells us that we know. We still are hearing there's an unspecified number of documents at Biden's house. We don't know how many documents. Come on, Donnie, what's going on? This is really sloppy staff work, really sloppy communications.
Democrats have a real problem here. You know, Joe, you've laid out, and it is apples and oranges in terms of severity, in terms of motive, in terms of volume, in terms of legality. But we live in a soundbite culture. We live in a headline culture. And if you're watching Morning Joe, you're going to understand and you're going to embrace those differences. For the majority of the 300 million plus people in this country, the headlines are going to be two guys taking classified documents. It's unfortunate. Now, this was the area that they kind of had Trump. This is the area we got him. We got him on obstruction of justice. We got him on the documents. It really, really, really clouds the issue. I hate to say it, and you know the team I root for here, but this is a real problem for the Democrats. I don't know if this is now off the table. It is, once again, we can talk about, and they are extreme differences, but to most of the country, and I was even speaking to some moderate Democrats over the weekend, and they were like, yeah, you know, this is an example of, you know, now they're going to carry on about that. Like, they were going, well, we lost this thing. So to the suburban Democrats, to the independents, there is a real murky water here, and that's a really unfortunate situation.
So it's a political problem. I think it's a political problem because of political mishandling of this. There shouldn't be a legal problem here if what we know, what we've been told so far, and the reporting is true, that the Biden team found the documents, immediately turned them in. Unlike Donald Trump, who lied, who took them purposefully, who held them, who lied to the DOJ, whose lawyers lied to the DOJ, defied the subpoena, had long-term negotiations, and the Trump people, they find out the DOJ's looking. The next day, Trump is sending people in and having them move documents around. Completely different. But politically, it is now murky politically. Not legally, from what we know so far, but politically, it certainly is.
It seems avoidable. I have a few questions that I just can't figure out here.